Hello, this is Cohen Canada here, and I'm going to react to the 2020 NASCAR schedule. Okay, so yeah, this has been officially released like maybe 20 minutes ago or so. I typed it up, put it on in the doc, and yeah, here it is. I'm going to be going through each race in detail, at least to the best of my abilities. So yeah, let's go. So the clash is going to start on the 9th of February after a long 2.5 month, like 2.5 months off of racing. That's going to be enough time to sort of go through the football season and do fantasy football and stuff like that. So, and yeah, long break. Every sport needs an off season. So, luck with that. Clash is like a week or two earlier than it usually is, but I'm not gonna complain. The earlier they race, the better. And then we have the Thursday duels at Daytona. Also not going to complain about that. They always run on weekdays. This is no different. Daytona 500 on Sunday, February 16th. Um, there were rumors that the Daytona was going to get moved and that there were going to be whatchamacallit, and there and the Daytona 500 would not be the first race of the season. That thankfully would not be true, and I'm glad they're the first race of the season. They should stay like that. So I'm not complaining. It February 16th. The duels. Yeah, the clash was on February 10th. So I thought this was actually a whole week earlier than this year, but no, it's probably a whole week earlier than last year, 2018. Here's where things start to get a bit iffy, though. Instead of having the second race be at Atlanta, we're having the second race at Las Vegas. And then this creates a West Coast swing. Vegas Auto Club, third race of the season, which I find weird. Then ISM, and then Atlanta. So the West Coast swing and is four races as usual, but Auto Club and ISM have been switched. I don't know why. They probably want to get speed two intermediate tracks out of the way. No, Auto Club isn't intermediate, but yeah, I noticed that they switched Auto Club and ISM, so that's going to be interesting. Uh, and then we have Atlanta as race 5. It was the second race. Like I remember when ISM, aka Phoenix, was the second race, but yeah, like it got moved down to the fifth race. I'm not going to complain about that. The drivers like the old surface, so they're never gonna repave it until they're forced to. Here's where things get interesting though. Homestead Miami Speedway is the sixth race of the season. I we're so used to it being seen as the last race, but I I can't complain. Like I did not like Homestead being the last race for the past 2 years. I'd say, like it isn't like it's not really an iconic speedway in NASCAR. It was recently. It's one of NASCAR's newest tracks. Stuff like that. It's not iconic to the sport, and it only became iconic because it was the final race. Before that, it was the second to final race, a- and stuff like that. And then I think Atlanta was the final race. I don't know why that changed, but I wasn't a NASCAR fan at that time. Texas is the seventh race. No changes there, I don't think. Yeah, no changes to Texas. Then we have Bristol. No changes there. The only thing I see with Bristol is that people are going to complain that there aren't any short track races sooner in the schedule. But I don't know. Like It is the 8th race. The first short track of the season will not be until April, and people are just gonna have to deal with that. And then we have an off week on the 12th. It's pretty odd, but let's see. Easter 2020. It may have, yeah, that's when Easter is, so yeah, no, gotta take it off for Easter Sunday. It's pretty, yeah, April 25th. The Easter is off this year too, and that's gonna be after Richmond. Yeah, so so that's good that they take it off for Easter every year. Pretty important holiday. Then we have Dega in the 26th. Nothing changed there. It's gonna be a crazy race, but you know, whatever. And then Dover, nothing changed there. I mean, Dover's sort of an track. Not really too much going on, but it's good to see a short track every once in a while. Then we follow that up with another short track at Montsville. So, and it's gonna be a night race too, Montsville. So, yeah, I don't know what to say about that. Like Montsville under the lights is going to be fun. Uh, like it's just going to be fun. Then we have the All-Star race in Charlotte, Coke 600. It's gonna be mid-May. Nothing changed. Kansas. Now Kansas was before the All-Star race, but that got replaced by Munnsville, so they just shoved Kansas back. Yeah, it's not gonna be a race people look forward to, unless there's a new package in it and stuff like that. So is Michigan. I like the racing at Michigan. I like the high speeds, but some people don't. Then we go to our first road course of the season at Sonoma. That doesn't change at all. Uh, it's actually a week earlier than it was last season. All of these were a week earlier than last season, but that's to have the off weeks. More on that later. Chicagoland. Um, that got recently changed from the first race of the playoffs to mid-season. Now, I believe last year's Chicago race was pretty good, but the other Chicagoland races were pretty boring and dull. So probably a good thing to get that out of the way. Plus, it's Chicago. Nobody watches NASCAR there. Actually, that's an overstate. Well, I don't know. I'm just speaking out of my mouth. Then the most interesting, in my opinion, part of the schedule is the doubleheader at Pocono. 900 miles in 2 days. I mean, yeah, some Cup and Xfinity drivers have the stamina to do that. Ross Chastain, Kyle Busch. You know, like, especially Ross Chastain. I don't know how he keeps up with that. But the fact that it's a doubleheader and you're going to have people come to 2 races in the same weekend, I'm not sure how all 40 of the drivers are going to keep up with that. Because we're basically going to see the same race every, like, between those 2 days. I when I first heard of it, I thought it was going to be over 2 weekends. I'm actually glad that if it was a doubleheader, it's like in the same weekend, but still, it's going to be interesting, something new. Indianapolis gets the July 4th weekend. Controversial, of course, but I don't know. Like it's weird not seeing patriotic cars run in Daytona. Like that's sort of been a thing for the past at least 10 years or so. Then we have Kentucky, a track nobody really cares for. It it opened like 8 years ago, so yeah. Then you have New Hampshire, right before the playoffs. It's going. I like I like racing at New Hampshire, like in NIS and stuff, and on and on. But just watching the race there in real life sort of seems lackluster. But it is crucial for. But that's going to be the last race people see before the 2 weeks of off. Now I was mad that there would be 2 weeks of off, but like the TV things are already going to NBC, and NBC is doing the Olympics thing again. So and they're saying that it could be a marketing for NASCAR drivers to promote NASCAR in the Olympics. There's probably going to be some of that. So I'd say that's a smart move after hearing why they did that. Michigan will be the first race back off an off week. It's probably going to be overhyped and not good enough racing because of the package and everything. Watkins Glen, again, going to be well hyped. But yeah, 3 weeks before the playoffs. Then we go to Dover and Daytona. Now I usually don't see. Uh, Sorry, I'm just looking at the schedule. You usually don't see Dover this late in the season. You usually see it in the playoffs. But yeah, I don't know why it got moved up. Maybe it's to have more entertaining races in the playoffs, and if that's the case, I'm all for that. Then Daytona as the final. Oh, I could see this being a gimmick. Daytona is the final race before the playoffs. Now, I would that is going to bring in a lot of people watching, but it's just going to be a gimmick, especially when you have two people fighting super hard to stay in the top 16 all season, and then get wrecked out and lose their playoffs spot over a wreck. Because there's going to be a lot of those at Daytona. And the fact that there's increased pressure makes it even worse. But again, I'm probably overreacting because there are three super speedways in the regular season, but it will make things interesting. I do like most of the schedule changes because it's interesting, it keeps fans watching, stuff like that. Then we go to the playoffs, and here is where I sort of see an iffy mark, but this is where a lot of fans will get excited. The first round, no intermediate tracks. Again, most of these tracks are intermediate tracks. So we already have a whole round dedicated to not racing on intermediate tracks. So yeah, doesn't accurately reflect the season, but it's going to be entertaining. I'm going to be glad to watch it, even though it may knock out people who deserve the championship. Las Vegas, Dega, and Charlotte Motor Speedway Roval. I honestly don't know if that's correct. That does not sound correct. Hold on. Okay, yeah, that's correct. Yeah, I thought, but the Roval is going to be a cutoff race. That's going to be interesting to see. It was like that last year, and Kyle Larson barely advanced because someone in the 96, I think it was Jeffrey Earnhardt, like his car stalled right before the finish line, and he couldn't get it back going. Stuff like that, knocked Jimmy Johnson out. But yeah, Roval's gonna be another cutoff race, and you also have Dega in the same round, so that's gonna be a gimmick. Basically, I like super speedway tracks because it's entertaining to watch most of the time, but they all end up being gimmicks. And then the Roval, yeah, cutoff race. Then we go to Kansas and Texas. I don't mind that because most of these tracks are intermediate, and you sort of want to get that back going. It won't be as entertaining, but I feel like they're going to make it entertaining, especially with the playoffs. And then Martinsville is the cutoff. That is a huge move. Like Martinsville as the cutoff right before the finale at ISM. The finale at ISM and the cutoff at Martinsville. That is the best thing that's ever happened to this new playoff system. It's going to be entertaining. And yes, there will be rivalries at the time. So, yeah, I'd say Martinsville is a good move. And ISM as the final race. I like that move, honestly, because ISM has sold out their last 3 fall cup races. And and a lot of fans certainly love watching ISM. Now, some people like Homestead, but it's a multi-groove racetrack for about 20 laps, then it's high side. Nobody really wants to watch that. I believe ISM will be more entertaining. But I also feel like in this 2020 season, the person who dominates most of the season will be wrecked out in this race and will have a champion who did not deserve it. But that's just me. Honestly, I rate this schedule change a. I rate the changes to the schedule probably a 8. Oh, sorry. Yeah, 8 to 10. Could so you got -1 for the Pocono double header. Now, okay, like honestly, let me zoom out a bit. Honestly, I could see why they do this because, to cut costs, but still, it's gonna be two of the same race, basically. And then Hollows are gonna have to bring in 4 cars, probably. And if you wreck in practice, you better not wreck in the race, or else you're not even gonna race in that in the Sunday race. So I could see that race weekend being a mess. And then the playoffs are gonna be entertaining. It doesn't accurately reflect the season, so you could say -1 for playoffs, not accurately representing the season, but you'll have plus 0.5 for it being entertainment value. Let me actually change that to there. And then, yeah, because it's going to be entertaining to see these two. Like, basically, all of the cutoff races are going to be entertaining. And in the end, NASCAR really is a business. And yeah, none of the tracks are going to be out of the season. So I'm going to give that a plus 0.5. Now, people would say that would be a negative, but actually, no, I'm not going to. Because you hate to see races being kicked out, but I like that they're having the same tracks, honestly. There shouldn't be radical changes because I feel like you're losing even more of your fan base. And most of the NASCAR fans will basically, yeah, not be that. I Look, this is going to be a very controversial point because I like that no tracks have been kicked out of the season. And I know that people want new tracks like Rockingham. I'm all for Rockingham actually, but I like this because we're basically giving each of these tracks a new chance with, probably a different package in 2020 too. See how they hold up. Instead of, oh, let's judge the tracks by let's judge the tracks by packages that we aren't going to run and just kick them out of the season. I mean, unless the races have been a no-show, then yeah, but each race is actually brought in. I mean, it's not like the races bring in 1,000 people a week. There's millions of people watching each week, no matter what track it is. So I'm glad that they aren't too radical yet, because I don't think radicalism needs to be at least next season. I'm glad that they basically kept the same tracks. And I will give a negative 0.6. For basically... Crap, I had it in mind. Yeah, Daytona. Ooh, I went to Discord for a moment. I thought my recording would have ended. Gimmick regular. I have a huge problem with Daytona not being in the July 4th race. Because I love seeing the patriotic schemes. But also, Daytona being the regular season finale is a gimmick. If anything. Like, it's going to be entertaining. That's why that's a thing. Actually, maybe I should change this. There. Yeah, so I sort of changed that. But I'm just seeing if it all adds up. So -7, 6.9. Oh, that still is an 8. Okay. I think I can't math. Yeah, okay, that's an 8 out of 10. And yeah, regular season finale being a bit of a gimmick, and Daytona drop July 4th. I have a huge problem with that. You don't like Indianapolis is a part of USA. Indianapolis is an iconic track, but not in NASCAR standards. You've you've seen Indianapolis races fail in the past due to and it's just gonna be a mess. I if Indianapolis is gonna be in the day, hold up. Is Indianapolis gonna be in the day? They don't say, but if it is, then that basically ruins the July 4th thing. You gotta have it at night, and I've never seen a NASCAR Indy race at night. You get where I'm coming from? But yeah, it's basically where I'm coming from. Also, one more thing to add. I like that there's going to be Xfinity and truck races during the off weeks. That's going to get like for me, that's going to get my NASCAR fits in. My favorite driver is in Xfinity right now, but he's probably going to be in Cup in 2020. But it's still interesting to see the Xfinity scene. I'm following it a lot more closely and stuff like that. But yeah, that's basically my opinion of the 2020 season. And peace.